What is going on YouTube? This is Acid Roots. So I'm going to review the first album, the debut album by Dutch dance pop singer Amber. Based this product is called This Is Your Night, and it came out in the fall of 1996. Now the fair about this product here, there's some singles off this product. It's actually more or less a single off this product that I do particularly remember from back in the day within these pitches as far as these formats going to happen. This was a pretty constant staple in like 90s radio pitches like that, so it's a pretty heavy type ordeal. Definitely appreciate the appeal of this particular song. Now this album is named after the hit single amongst those pairs within those pitches. There were a good series of 90s one-hit wonders, like when you think of Tub Thumping by Chumbawamba, some of those type ones within those pitches, other type ones like that, some like a song by Tonic, like some of those type ones like by Tonic, like If You Could Only See, and some of those type pitches within the format, other type ones within the aspect. But this is a particular starlet. She did have a sequel album to this, and she had a series of other albums throughout like the early 2000s pitches like that, and a few compilation albums. But within the pitch, this was definitely a pretty festive type album. This is definitely a pretty blitzing type album. This is going to get a classic score. I recommend all 12 of the songs. There are 12. I recommend all 12 of the songs. There are songs on here as far as this pitch can happen. Now, there are actually 2 house remixes on this particular album, which bolsters it up to 14, but I don't recommend those as much because there's really not that much of a difference. I really don't recommend those as much because there's really not that much of a difference. Now, the particular appeal, I'm not going to subtract from the score because of those, but it's just kind of pitches for saying there's just not that much. It would have been dope if there was like a good revamp kind of remix about those, something like that. But those particular songs, the 2 songs, This Is Your Night and Color of Love, are already some pretty profound ones within the aspect anyways. But yeah, it's the real quality Eurodance type album pitches like that. Some of those type folks that are around that time, when you think of like the folks that did the Move It song, and then Hadaway, and some of these types of folks within the aspects, and like Spice Girls, some of these type folks that were kind of popular within like the Eurodance scene around this particular time. It's just some excellent type aspects around these particular tones. Now, I want to say probably depending upon the rhythmic nightclubs and dance venues, Eurodance type clubs that you would have went to back in the late 90s pitches like that, there probably were some multiple songs off this product that were picked up, but for the most part, nowadays, not to say Full Bound Amber is kind of like a one-hit wonder, but it's this kind of pitch as far as saying that the vast majority of like the supposed kind of airplay. There's another type folk. It's another particular type folk that did like the Be My Lover song, and I forget who particularly did that, but the particular starlet that did the Be My Lover song from like the early mid-90s pitches like that, LaBouche, the group is still around within a certain type of sense, but the female singer that did some of those type of songs, like the 2 singles out of the 90s, there were 2 of those singles that had the album with Be My Lover on there, but she's deceased. She passed in plane crash, unfortunately. But it's just kind of pitch as far as saying some of these type ones were within the rhythmic type aspect. I think within these aspects, like I was saying, that a bunch of these clubs probably picked up songs by like Amber pitches like that, but for the most part, it kind of seems more or less it's kind of an unwieldy type aspect to kind of say within the tones of her being like a one-hit wonder, but it's just kind of the pitch that's kind of the commonplace to kind of think that within those tones, considering there were other singles off this album that did chart in the Billboard 100 in the US dance charts. Some of those pitches similar to Madonna, similar to folks like Madonna and Paris Hilton, some of those type folks in particular, but it's just kind of the aspect as far as saying that the vast majority, probably, it's not so much the funnest song off this product as This Is Your Night, but it's the most catchy in terms of like the immediate type factor, in terms of the most radio snap, that just has the instantaneous kind of appeal. And it's just kind of the aspect, this album is not given the commonplace type it's just kind of those tones that particularly kind of happens. There's certain traps sometimes when you make a song that's so profoundly, profusely good pitches like that, that if that particular feeling is not reharnessed within some type of aspects, it just kind of removes back to that trajectory as far as what's going to happen. But it's just within the pitch. Amber is a pretty quality starlet here within these aspects as far as these tones going to have just excellent type pitch of getting a good assortment. Now, back in 1996, this was ahead of the time as far as these pitch going to happen just a miss. There were other Eurodance albums, like I said, like Spice Girls and Hadaway, some of these type folks, LaBouche, some of these type ones within aspects as far as these tones going to happen. There were plenty of these type ones that kind of happened in the 90s, but just within the fair, like the particular format of getting something that this is consistently a miss, like the Dance Club for 1996. When you think of the things that were kind of going around this time, this did not have terribly many makeshift songs on here, or really much miss the aspect. This is pretty much after the hours of probably 5:30, 6 o'clock p.m. pitches like that. Now, there are a few dance songs. I do like the fact that Amber occasionally goes to the dance floor pitches like that, somewhere between probably like the Dayshine, where there would be some sunshine type hours, like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock p.m. It's kind of the pitch that the majority of this album is within the aspect of like the rhythmic type aspect. So it's just some good type format, but this is well before like 2010s kind of EDM type blitzing pitches like that, where you just would get cranked out of your mind on like a rhythmic type basis. Now, there's not a heavy kind of alcohol consumption about this product. It's not to say it couldn't be, but it's just the pitch. It doesn't have as much seeming bounds within the product to like the getting tore up type fashion. It does kind of have like the the aspect of like the social kind of nightlife in a dance type sense, but it's just kind of missed the aspect that you just kind of do it at your leisure as far as those pitch kind of. But I look after it, so yeah, there were 3 singles off this project. The first single is the song that this album was named after, This Is Your Night. Now, this is a pretty recognizable type song within pitch, even 30 years later within these aspects. It's like a classic 90s staple in radio every day to kind of get within the aspects here. Just a consistent kind of dance craze within these aspects. Pretty good frenzy of a song. Now, this is just a pretty consistent banger within these tones. This should take you right back to the dance floor. Some type products, just some Eurodance, just ripped out of like, when you think of like a hit quality song like the Mortal Kombat theme song, songs that pitches are just further type ones within those aspects, like those kind of tear up type moments within this 90s, not to say full bound 90s cheese, but just the aspect like that 90s flavor, kind of similar to like when you think of Dancing Queen out of the 80s, songs that pitches, just kind of formative, just like a real. This may not be like the main de facto song of the 90s, but this is definitely a pretty large type one, probably within like the top 25 or 35 or 45 type songs of the biggest songs out of the 90s as far as this pitch count. It's definitely in there somewhere within these pitches. It's definitely a pretty banner and seminal type 90s song within these aspects. So good type ordeals. It's just difficult for Amber to be able to get within the context. Now, like I will point out some ones on here that do have those particular aspects as far as further type rhythmic type ones within the aspect. But in terms of something that has like this particular snap with the melodies and all that particular fair is this kind of aspect that this album doesn't have like a single that's as large as this one's kind of the pitch, that this is like the main anchor, but there are further good moments. This is the pitch as far as saying. But so Color of Love is the second single. It's like a good night balm and steadier kind of crest into Night Shift. And Color of Love, the second single, is like a good night balm and steadier crest into Night Shift as far as these pairs going to have them just mid combos with Your Night as far as this pitch going to have. This is Your Night. So it's just one of the pitches as far as saying this particular one is just a little bit more, not as ferocious, not as biting within the aspect. This doesn't have as much snap within the tone, but this is kind of like a more, it's just a lot more pleasant and just simple. Color of Love is just a lot more pleasant and easy going within these pitches about it. And it's definitely still a miss like the Night Fair pitches like that, but it's just not, it doesn't have the same appetite and this like ravenous type energy as This Is Your Night. This Is Your Night really has the spice of wanting to get crunk, so and stuff. Aspects within the tone is like the ferocity, have a good night, so and stuff pitches. Excellent kind of Thursday, Friday type song, especially back in the mid 90s pitches like that. But this particular one is just a little bit more pleasant within the tone as far as just something that, not so much sedate, but just kind of feels like just a more kind of coasting into like the night type fair within those aspects as far as those tones going to happen. But it is a nice song within these pitches. It just doesn't have like the full bound craze type factor, but it's not a bad song. And then One More Night, the Honey remix is the third single. It's another nice one on here. It's like a dope, sleepy kind of slow jam and night gaze kind of get within the aspects of it here. Just a spiced kind of romantic bleed, I'd have to say, within these aspects. Good type tones. This is an overall hot type one. So just the pitch as far as saying this is a fair where it would be kind of the slow jam type moments. Just within the pitch, it just more kind of contemporary, just in a more, it's like a contemporary kind of down-tempo dance song within these pitches as far as those fairs going to happen. Just to miss the product once the energy of like This Is Your Night and kind of the pleasantness and like the small talk and like the basic kind of riff-raff kind of winds down from like Color of Love, some of those type of aspects, kind of the tone as far as getting towards more like the product of something like One More Night, the Honey remix, just in those aspects as far as those tones going to happen. Just kind of miss the pitch, just like the night finishes off just in a more typical type format of this. Like the send off tonight as far as this pitch is going to happen, just to miss the fair, like the next move as far as this pitch can happen, just exiting like the dance club pitch, just like that for like a pretty routine type night. So just miss the fair. It's good type content. It is a hot type one, definitely like the aspects as far as just those tones, as far as getting towards the aspect of this overall nice rousing, just the conduct to how the fair about this like pleasant kind of night kind of happens within the pitch as far as those pitches. The night being pleasant and enjoyable as far as this pitch kind of goes. So yeah, I recommend all total the songs off here. Like I said, the other two ones, the This Is Your Night house mix and the Color of Love house mix, are just not really that different from the original songs. It's just a pitch as far as sound. So I'm just gonna write those off as far as this pitch can happen. But yeah, this is a 10 out of 10 album within these pitches. All the total songs I look after here. Yeah, like I was saying, one of these type ones that's very similar to This Is Your Night, probably one of the most immediate ones to go for. Spotify kind of minorly noticed this as well. It has at least, I mean, most of this album has like 30,000, 40,000 plays, pitches like that. It's just kind of the ordeal. This particular one has almost 100,000, so it's within the variety behind it. There's some other ones that have pretty close, but I think apart from like the singles, there were really not many chances that this album's really full bound given. It's kind of the pitch that for the most part the anchor of this album is just like the fair. You remember the song, then you just kind of, you know, zone out and move on to the next one. It's not to say full bound like that's the truth of what should happen. It's just kind of the fair. like I was saying, it just feels more commonplace that Amber would be seen as a one-hit wonder, or at least a one-hit per album. She did have a few hits on the 1999 album as well that I'm going to get to down the road, but it's just one of the pitches for saying. But yeah, I look after it here. So Hold My Body Ties, this particular song, like I was talking about, that's like the closest thing to like This Is Your Night in terms of like the immediacy factor of something that has like that particular energy within the conic, like some ferociousness. Hold My Body Tight's like a nice cousin of This Is Your Night. This hits real close to that. Like I was saying, excellent type pitch for that. It's like some good vanilla. This song's some great vanilla snap as far as what's going to happen. So just excellent 1-2 punch with the lead single as far as what's going to happen. It's just the pitch as far as saying if for folks that would try to pigeonhole Amber within some type of aspects as far as saying this album doesn't have the hits, this is a good example of one that this is that same variety of like that particular aspect, same vein, so those sort of pitches like that. So this has an example of like a further type one. Now, it's not to complain and say about this as far as saying, well, it's just like a half-baked follow-up to like This You're Not. It really isn't. It's the tone as far as saying this has some further type products of getting her more hits to her repertoire as far as this pitch can happen. Now, Color of Love is good. The second single is pretty good within these aspects as well, but it's just a more pleasant type one, just not quite as ravenous, just kind of just more vanilla type one within those aspects in like a plainer type sense. Not plainer in quality, but just a plainer, not as much edge. And then One More Night's just more of a slow jam type one, just more romantic fair pitch. And the One More Night Honey remix is just more of a slow jam, more romantic fare as far as this pitch comes. So just excellent within these pitches. But yeah, Hold My Body Tight's a good, excellent type combo. Easily one of the most immediate ones to go for out this album. Let It Rain's a nice one as well within these pitches. Like a nice balmy and glisten kind of rhythmic slow jam to kind of get within the aspects of it here. Just a 90s taste and like a smoky kind of after hour pitches like that. I have to say within the fare. Very GG type song kind of get within these aspects. Talk about like the internet type fare amongst that. Say GG in terms of like the internet lingo pitch like that when you describe that particular fare about it. And just some more meme speak pitches like that. So good type ordeal. But yeah, this is the slow jam about this album. This is one that goes pretty well with One More Night, the Honey remix. But it's just kind of the after effect of more homebound within the pitch. It just something that would be like a Spotify bleed, just in a more Let It Rain's like an excellent kind of Spotify bleed, just in a 90s type sense, in a more homebound type fashion, just with the aspect like those particular fairs. So it's just basically like getting like a good, just more or less kind of like a Eurodance kind of ballad as far as this pitch comes. So it's just an interesting type pitch to get like a down tempo kind of Eurodance type song within these pitches. It's a necessary type format. This album doesn't touch bass with that particular fair too super commonly within the pitch This album doesn't touch too super commonly with like the down tempo type fare, but there are some pitches about that do kind of slow down the tempo as far as this pitch can happen, just in a more R&B type fashion, more in like a soul type aspect within the pitch. Not so much soul, but just kind of more in like a slow jam type essence with more endear as far as this pitch can happen. So that's a good slow jam type combo off this album. Be One More Night, the Honey remix, and Let It Rain. So type one's excellent type ordeal. You Are the One's a quality one within these aspects as well. It's like a homebound and cleanup hop. The song You Are the One's a quality one as well within these pitches, like a homebound and cleanup hop to kind of get within the aspects of it. Just a local kind of 90s gym fit and motivate within these aspects as far as these tones going to happen. Just to motivate music, I definitely would say good aspect for that. And it's like a pushing type song. So one of those type ones easily reminds like the Montel Jordan type Pharaohs type pitches, just in the format of like the Typical. Not so much full bound healthy within the aspect, but just kind of the aspect of more or less like a Eurodance kind of hustle song within some type pitches within the format as far as those tones are going to happen. It's kind of like the in-between kind of transit scenes in a movie as far as this press going to happen, where you just hop to it, get your shit together a little bit within these aspects as far as these tones going to happen, just to miss like that typical kind of bustle type snap in the pitch, but just kind of does it in a more dance type sense. So just kind of fashion, just some job to kind of get some errands taken care of pitches like that. Nice steadfast type one is Losing Myself in Your Love. It's like a good rainy kind of makeshift get along in like a dance sense that I'd say within the aspects of it here. Just some commute and tasks as far as these pairs going to have. So just to miss the pitch, this one's a little bit more. It's not as super commonly noticeable within these pitches, but there is a certain degree of malaise about this sound within the pitch as far as this format. This kind of has a lot more balm within a more typical kind of cheer. This is just a very vanilla type album within the aspect as far as like the snap being one of the banner type points for like 90s kind of music pitches like that. But it's just kind of the ordeal as far as saying there is like malaise about this product that kind of has the fare of just like something. It's not quite as full bound emo pitches like that, but it's just kind of within the ordeal, just like something for like the ruffled days pitches like that, to where it has more aspects with different sides of the coin as far as those pitches kind of go. But this is like the closest thing to like a makeshift song. Most of this album's pretty much, minus like the songs like You Are the One and Losing Myself in Your Love Songs type pitches, is kind of the format that most of this is kind of more or less within like the dance floor type format of just like whether it is 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon or 1 or 2 in the morning pitches like that. It's just kind of the ordeal as far as those assets going to go. Just a nice rainy makeshift like I was saying. Being with You is a nice one within these aspects as well. It's like a jumping kind of romantic stretch kind of get within the products of it here. Just a day shift kind of dance tune, I'd say. Just some social kind of daydream and malaise as far as these aspects going to go. So this is one of those type ones that, yeah, Being With You is just a day shift kind of dance tune, just something more just in the boredom type hours where not much commotion is going on, probably not much real chattiness and pitches like that. I miss those ordeals. It's kind of where it typically be more boredom pitches like that. But yeah, I say social daydream because it's just to miss the aspect of this in mid-afternoon pitches like that. It's kind of aspect of just out and about, but just kind of daydream within those fairs, just preoccupied fairs like that. But just some good malaise. Good type products. Can You Feel the Love's a nice one as well within these aspects. It's like an apex of like the night, just amidst like routine blitzing. I'd have to say here, just some super kind of vanilla cray type music within these aspects. Where these songs going to go very trendy. So when I say vanilla cray, some of these type of aspects, it's cray within the factor, but compared to like some of the vicious EDM and things like that, electronica, some of these type fares within the aspect of what particularly goes along nowadays, compared to like when you think of folks like Jeffree Star and Adam Lambert and a bunch of like the things that happened like the 2010s and further pitches like that, some of those type of ordeals. It's actually like a nice cream cookie, something like that, just a very vanilla wafer type aspect within the tone. It's this kind of aspect. This is still pretty trendy for like the times of 1996, just the aspect of where it could be just normalized and routine to kind of live on like the dance floor pitches like that, whether it is 1 o'clock in the afternoon or 1 o'clock in the morning, some of those type fares. So when I say super vanilla craze, the pitch as far as saying it's crazy as fuck within the aspects as far as like the things that were kind of going on around the time, it's kind of more mild sauce compared to some of the things that obviously have happened within those pitches. But it still is amidst like the dance floor. This is probably something that within those fashions and more 90s oriented that you would have listened to in like at like 11 o'clock p.m. and 3 o'clock in the morning pitches like that. So just a good type of ordeals for some of those type fashions. Push It to the Limit's a nice one as well. It's like a good album cut to kind of get here. Just more house style dance set off, I'd say, within the pitch behind it. This vintage kind of 90s dance night as far as this fair's going to happen. So this kind of reminds of like folks like Vanilla Ice, a little bit of MC Hammer, just pitches like that, some of that 90s flavor, some of those type of aspects, just kind of not so much dance venue pitches like that where there would be like not so much full-bound 90s dance floor pitches like that where there would be a DJ, but just kind of the product of more maybe some sort of house party type conduct within the pitch and just something a little bit more localized. This one's not as much with vocals full-bound kind of on, it's just more of like a zone-out type one to kind of get with like mild kind of chorus pitches like that. But it's just kind of the ordeal as far as saying just a good conduct of one that kind of creates that particular, that gives some pretty good punching type energy within the pitch as far as what's going to happen. Trying to think of some other songs I haven't talked about on here. I don't think I talked about Move Your Body. This is the second song you hear after This Is Your Night, the lead single, most popular song off this album. So Move Your Body is like a follow-up punch after like the Breadwinner. I'd have to say the Breadwinner single is like a great Eurodance groove to kind of get in flav as far as these pitch kind of happen. So just, yeah, flav mean flavor within these as far as these songs kind of happen. But just to miss the pitch as far as saying Move Your Body just feels like something Madonna would have done in the 80s. This is, Amber would be more, Move Your Body just feels like something Madonna would have done in the 80s. Amber more or less feels like a 90s version of like Madonna as far as these pitches kind of happen. Now within the aspect, she does have a number of hits off this particular album, but just to kind of say if you're looking for like a 90s kind of Madonna, this would be a good choice to have within some type of aspects because a lot of these are just one after the other in terms of quality, even if the number of number ones off this product. Now the 3 singles did all pretty well on like the US dance chart, so that separate chart, which is not the US Billboard 100, is kind of the pitch as far as saying there were some extra hits on there. But this album does particularly have it, but it's just kind of aspect as far as saying this is the commonplace as far as talking about like the attention that this album's going to get in a casual type sense past like the lead single pitches like that. But it's just kind of the ordeal. I'm trying to think if there's other songs I haven't talked about on here within these pitches. I think the last song I haven't talked about on here is This Is the Right Time. So This Is the Right Time is like a glitzy and nice rhythmic kind of Europop shine to kind of get. This Is the Right Time is like a glitzy and nice rhythmic kind of Europop shine to kind of get within the aspects of it here. Just some daytime visits, I would definitely say within the conduct of it. Just some venue flavor as far as this pitch kind of goes. This is the product. This is like the same daytime type aspect as like the song I was talking about that is Being With You with some of these type aspects, but just not as forlorn within the pitch behind. This is just one where you're just going to the dance club just within the pitch and just the excitement and pitches like that just to kind of having some excitement and wanting to have some good times within the promptness of it. So it's just kind of the product as far as saying, Bae wants to hit up the dance floor at like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock p.m. Just kind of get to the pitch as far as saying, why not? Let's get to the pitch as far as let's get towards the pitch as far as saying hop into it and getting crunk as far as those aspects going to happen just for more than just like, for more than just the typical night type fashion, probably past 9 or 10 p.m. pitches like that as far as those ordeals going to happen. So just to miss the pitch for more past the usual type fashion, just past 9 or 10 p.m. pitches like that as far as those ordeals can happen. So just miss the pitch as far as saying it was just good type product. I do like some of these daytime kind of Eurodance type songs pitches like that, some good type ordeals. So within the fair, this album gets a 10 out of 10 within these pitches. So that's the product behind it. The social score I'm going to go ahead and give maybe like a 9.75. I look within the pitch as far as saying it's not like this album doesn't have the quality. It does have pretty good amounts of stacked dance songs, pitches like that. It's just kind of the fair. It just feels like this album kind of gets pigeonholed and shoehorned to like the concept of not being as large as it really is within those pitches. Just kind of the fair that if you don't know, if you're just looking at it from like a casual type aspect, just like, hey, I like this song, and that's mostly the vibe about it. It's kind of the pitch that, yeah, This Is Your Night might be the only real breadwinner within the aspect, but it does have more within the commonplace. It's kind of fair as far as saying it's the immediacy, Snap. The other two singles off this album that did chart on like the dance charts are just not as commonplace within like the radio pickup. It's just kind of the fair. It's not really too much fault to pin the blame on within these aspects, but it's just kind of the fair as far as saying it's just the product that the energy and the overall rhythmic kind of just the energy and the overall rhythmic bite of This Is Your Night just didn't have like one as just as full bound within the viciousness of it. It's just kind of fair. Sometimes that happens. It happens with rap songs, happens with rock songs. So it happens with rap songs, happens with rock songs. Some of those type pitches within the fair. It's just kind of the conduct. I probably would have went with. I know it would have been like a clone of this song, but Hold My Body type probably would have been an excellent type aspect just to establish Amber. Just to establish Amber a little bit further, just right off the bat. It's kind of the pitch as far as saying just the variety behind it. This would have stacked the hits up quicker within those aspects. Not to say that it wasn't quick within the tones, but it's just kind of pitch as far as saying just to have stacked up those casual hits a little bit quicker within those aspects. It's not to say it doesn't have those, just kind of the factoid as far as saying it's just kind of the aspect that the energy of Move Your Body was just a little bit more sluggish, and then it's just the factoid that the energy of Color of Love was just a little bit more sluggish, than the tone behind One More Night within these pitches was just kind of more of a slow jam. So it's just a pitch as far as saying, but it does have some other rhythmic type ones, like I was saying. It's good type ones. I would say Push It to the Limit. Push It to the Limit's like a good house party type song. Hold My Body Tight is probably the second most immediate song off this album in terms of like the same bite as This Is Your Night. There's some ones on here like that, like there is a pretty good rhythmic kind of slow jam type song, and rhythmic kind of slow jam and ballad type song and Let It Rain, some of those type pitches. There's a good Rainy Makeshift type song and Losing Myself in Your Love, some of those type pitches. So it does have the fair about it. It's just kind of commonplace. It just like the appetite that kind of goes along with it casually. Yeah, but look after here, so 9.75 social. So in terms of future, like Amber has not been around since possibly like the mid 2000s, pitches like that. Now she does have at least 4 albums, a few compilation albums, pitches like that, some of those type of ordeals. Just the excellent aspect. Like I said, her 1990 like I was saying, her 1999 album did pretty good also within these pitches. Was the same sort of format, had some hits on there within the aspect behind it, but just within the fair, it still seemed like her largest hits are just probably like the singles off this album, the 99 one. Was just the pitch for us. It's not to say she didn't have other hits, she definitely did. This album proves it. It's just kind of the fair that just the casual aspect was just not given much room to grow within those fairs. It's kind of the iconic, but I look after here, so 10 out of 10 album pitches like that, just some dynamite heat, definitely some signature 90s songs pitches like that, some excellent type of ordeals, just takes it back to the dance floor in like a ravenous type sense, some daytime dance, some night avenue dance, some dance products in like different places for like house cleaning and Rainy Makeshift and slow jam type aspects, some of these type tones and other type formats that really work pretty heavily and hit the head.